P1 3 months ago, he was poor, exhausted, and completely hopeless. Every night while the world was sleeping, he was working just to survive. No degree, no connections, no money, and slowly he was losing hope. But then something happened that changed everything, a simple habit. Something so powerful that within 90 days, his life started changing in ways he never imagined. His income increased. His confidence returned. And for the first time in years, he finally felt alive again. The most shocking part is this: the habit that changed his life cost absolutely nothing. No rich family, no expensive courses, no lucky opportunities. Just one decision made every morning at 5 o'clock. And if you stay until the end of this story, you will discover exactly how a poor man transformed his life using the same secret that successful people have quietly used for decades. His name was Thomas. At 32 years old, Thomas worked as a night security guard in a small warehouse. Every evening, while families were having dinner together and children were finishing their homework, Thomas was putting on his old uniform and preparing. For another long night, his job was simple: walk around the warehouse, check the gates, stay awake, and repeat the same routine again and again. For 8 years, nothing had changed. 8 years. The salary remained almost the same. His dreams became smaller, and his hope slowly disappeared. Every morning at 6 o'clock, when his shift ended, he would walk home while everyone else was beginning their day. He watched office workers rushing to work. He watched students laughing with friends. He watched people living the kind of life he had always wanted. And deep inside, one painful question kept repeating itself. Will this ever change? Will I live like this forever? He had tried many times. He applied for better jobs. Nobody accepted him. He wanted to learn new skills. But after working all night, his body was too tired to focus. Sleep became his escape, and every day looked exactly the same. One evening, his mother called him from the village. Her voice sounded weak. "Thomas, my son, when will life become easier for you? I am getting old. Before I leave this world, I just want to see you happy." Thomas forced himself to smile. "Soon, Mom. Everything will be okay." But after ending the call, he sat alone in silence, because deep inside, he knew the truth. Nothing was changing, and he had no idea how to change it. That night, while walking around the warehouse, he looked up at the dark sky and whispered something he had never said before. Maybe this is all life has for me. Maybe dreams are only for lucky people. Days passed, weeks passed, and then one morning, just as Thomas was leaving work, his phone suddenly rang. It was his younger sister. Her voice was shaking. "Thomas, come home quickly." Mom collapsed. She is in the hospital. The world around him stopped. His hands began to tremble. Without wasting a second, he took the first bus to his village. The entire journey felt endless. Thousands of thoughts filled his mind. Please, God, not my mother, please. When he finally arrived at the small clinic, he saw her lying quietly on the bed. She looked weak, much weaker than before. Thomas sat beside her and held her hand tightly. His mother slowly opened her eyes, and with tears in her eyes, she whispered something that would change his life forever. "My son, please, don't waste your life the way I wasted mine. Promise. Me, you will find a better way. Promise. Me, you will not give up on yourself." Those words pierced his heart after she fell asleep. Thomas walked outside the clinic. It was still dark. The village was silent. And then he noticed something strange. It was exactly 5 o'clock in the morning. Birds were singing. The air was cool. And while everyone was still sleeping, a few farmers had already started their day. For some reason, that morning felt different. Standing alone in the darkness, Thomas made a promise to himself. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more living like this, whatever it takes. I will change my life. But at that moment, he had absolutely no idea that just a few hours later, He would meet a man whose advice would completely transform his future. And that one conversation would introduce him to the secret of 5 a.m. A few hours later, Thomas was sitting on a bus heading back to the city. His mind was heavy. His mother's words kept echoing. Inside his head, promise me you will find a better way. Promise me you will not give up on yourself. As he sat quietly near the window, he noticed a man sitting across from him. He looked calm, confident, well-dressed. In his hands was a book, and unlike everyone else on the bus, he seemed completely relaxed. Thomas recognized him. Immediately, his name was Mr. Chun Won, of the most successful businessmen in town. He owned several shops and employed dozens of people. But something surprised Thomas. It was only 6 o'clock in the morning. Why would a successful man be traveling on an ordinary bus at this hour? Curiosity finally overcame his fear. Excuse me, sir, can I ask you something? Mr. Chun smiled. Of course. Thomas hesitated. Why are you traveling so early? And why are you taking a bus? A man like you can easily afford a private car. Mr. Chun laughed softly. Success has nothing to do with expensive cars, young man. Then he closed his book and looked directly into Thomas's eyes. I wake up every morning at 4:30. These quiet hours are the most valuable hours of my day. Thomas was confused. 4:30? Every day? Mr. Chun nodded. For the last 30 years. Before the world wakes up, I read, think, plan, and work on myself. That habit changed my life. Thomas smiled sadly. Sir, people like me don't have that luxury. I work night shifts. I barely survive. Mr. Chun observed the tired look on Thomas's face. What do you do? Security guard, Thomas replied. And how long have you been doing that? 8 years, Mr. Chun slowly nodded. 8 years doing the same thing. And where has it taken you? Thomas lowered his head. Nowhere, exactly, Mr. Chun said. Young man, hard work alone does not guarantee success. Millions of people work hard every day, but very few people work on themselves. There is a difference. Thomas remained silent. Nobody had ever explained life this way before. Mr. Chun leaned closer. Tell me, what skill have you learned in the last 3 years? Thomas had no answer. What books have you read? No answer. What have you done to increase your value? Again, silence. Mr. Chun smiled. Don't feel bad. Most people spend years working hard, but almost no time growing. That is why their lives never change. Then he said something Thomas would never forget. Your future income depends on the person you become, not the person you are today. Those words hit Thomas like lightning. For the first time, he realized something painful. He had spent 8 years surviving, but 0 years growing. Mr. Chun took out a pen and wrote something on a small card, 5 a.m. Then he handed the card to Thomas. These 2 hours changed my life, and they can change yours, too. Thomas looked confused. How can waking up early change anything? Mr. Chun smiled. Because those hours belong only to you. No noise, no distractions, no demands, just you and your future. Most people wake up and immediately start reacting to life. Successful people wake up and start creating life. Thomas listened. Carefully, Mr. Chun continued. 2 hours every morning. That is all it takes. 2 hours every day equals 14 hours every week. 60 hours every month, 730 hours every year. That is almost 3 extra months. 3 extra months that most people throw away. Thomas's eyes widened. 3 extra months, Mr. Chun nodded. Imagine what happens if you spend those hours learning valuable skills instead of wasting them. 1 year from now, you become a different person. 3 years from now, your entire life changes. Then Mr. Chun took out his notebook and wrote 2 simple rules. First hour, build your income. Second hour, build yourself. Thomas stared at the words, build your income, build yourself. Mr. Chun continued. During the first hour, learn something valuable. Accounting, marketing, Excel. Sales. Anything that increases your value. And during the second hour, train your body and your mind. Exercise. Read, think, plan. Because money without health means nothing. Then he looked directly into Thomas's eyes. Young man, poor people usually think they need money to change their lives. But the truth is different. They need discipline. Discipline creates skills. Skills create value. Value creates money, and money creates freedom. Thomas felt something inside him awaken, hope, something he had not felt for years, but another thought entered his mind. What if I fail? Mr. Chun smiled. Everyone asks that question. Very few ask a better question. What if I succeed? The bus stopped. Mr. Chun stood up before leaving. He handed Thomas his business card. I am giving you 90 days. Wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. No excuses, no negotiation. Learn to exercise, grow. And after 90 days, call me if you truly remain disciplined. I promise your life will never be the same again. Then he stepped off the bus and disappeared into the crowd. Thomas looked down at the card in his hand. 90 days. One decision, one habit. Could it really change everything? He had no idea. But the next morning at exactly 5 o'clock, his alarm rang. And what happened during the following 90 days shocked everyone around him. The first morning was torture. At exactly 5 o'clock, Thomas's alarm rang. His body screamed for more. Sleep, his mind whispered. Just one more hour. You deserve some rest. But then he remembered his mother's face. He remembered the promise he had made outside the clinic, and slowly, he forced himself out of bed. The first week was painful. Every morning felt like a battle. Some days he wanted to quit. Some days he doubted himself. But deep inside, he knew one thing. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Every morning from 5 to 6, he watched free videos and learned Excel and accounting. From 6 to 7, he walked outside, exercised, and read books about success and personal growth day after day, week after week. Nobody noticed. Nobody praised him. Nobody believed in him. But Thomas kept going because he finally understood something. Success is built in silence. That is why most people never recognize it until it becomes visible. Around the 20th day, something incredible happened. His body adapted. He no longer hated waking up. In fact, he started enjoying the peaceful mornings. While everyone else was sleeping, Thomas was building his future. And if you are enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Silent Wealth Mindset, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes one story can change an entire life. By the end of the second month, Thomas had completed several online courses. He understood Excel. He learned accounting basics. His confidence grew stronger every day. Even his coworkers started noticing the difference. Thomas, you look different. You seem happier. He smiled. Because for the first time in years, I am finally moving forward. Then came the third month. One day, Thomas noticed that the warehouse inventory system was completely disorganized. Workers wasted hours searching for products. Mistakes happened almost every day. Using the skills he had learned during his 5 a.m. mornings, Thomas created a simple Excel system. It organized everything, saved time, reduced mistakes, and increased productivity. His supervisor was shocked. Thomas, who taught you all this? Thomas smiled. 5 a.m. taught me. Soon the warehouse manager heard about his work. Then the owner himself became interested. On the 87th day of his journey, Thomas was called into the office. His heart raced. He thought he had made a mistake. But when he entered, the owner smiled. Thomas, we are expanding our accounting department, and we need someone who understands warehouse operations. Your supervisor told us about your work. We are offering you a new position. Office hours, double. Your current salary. For a few seconds, Thomas couldn't speak. His eyes filled with tears. 3 months ago, he was a hopeless security guard. Now he was being given the opportunity he had prayed for. That night, he called Mr. Chun. Mr. Chun, you were right. My life has changed. Mr. Chun laughed softly. No, your life changed because you changed. Remember that. Success does not belong to lucky people. Success belongs to disciplined people. 1 year later, Thomas became the lead accountant of the company. His income continued to increase. He moved his mother to the city. He provided her with proper medical care. And for the first time in many years, he saw his mother smile without worry. Every morning at exactly 5 o'clock, Thomas still woke up, not because he had to, but because he had become a different person. One day, a coworker asked him, Thomas, why do you still wake up so early? You are already successful. Thomas smiled and gave an answer that nobody forgot. Success is not something you reach. Success is something you practice every single day. My friend, the difference between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow is not talent. It is not luck. It is not connections. It is the small decisions you make every day when nobody is watching. The truth is simple. The person you become is more important than the money you make, because when you become valuable, money eventually follows. Maybe you are struggling right now. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe life has disappointed you more times than you can count. But remember this. Thomas had no degree, no rich family, no special opportunities. He only had a decision to stop making excuses and start building himself. And that single decision changed everything. Now, I want to ask you a question. If your future depended on one habit, would you have the discipline to follow it? Would you wake up at 5 a.m. for 90 days? Would you sacrifice comfort for a better life? Because 5 years from now, you will either thank yourself for starting today or regret that you never started. The choice is yours. And remember, your future self is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. Don't make them wait any longer. If you believe that one decision can change a life, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Silent Wealth Mindset, and share this story with someone who needs hope. Because the greatest investment you will ever make is the investment you make in yourself. And perhaps tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., your new life begins.